Netflix's Resident Evil is possibly the most abhorred live-action adaptation yet.
Oh no!
How
Started
do
with
you do that? How is that possible with the other Resident Evil movies?
Yo, the first Resident Evil movie was a good movie.
It was a entertaining movie. So Netflix's ability to produce content that their users consider indescribably awful and unfaithful has not wavered, as their Resident Evil show's first trailer was utterly despised, not solely for the race swaps and unnecessary diversity, but also because it looks nothing like Resident Evil. The completely hated trailer and its phenomenal amount of dislikes, with the show performing even more poorly than the other Resident Evil live action movies trailer that used the He-Man theme song. So you can watch it here. So this is the official teaser for it. According to the whatever the thing is that is allowing people to still see the dislikes, 137,000. So I remind you that Lance Reddick is playing Wesker. This guy.
I would just like to point out that I think it's unfair to say that although I've probably had the alternate opinion at some point, so I mean, take it for what it's worth. But it's unfair to say like it has to be a perfect adaptation of the game. I think with games they're a lot more abstract, and it's easier to sometimes go against or not follow strictly what happens in the game, like the Super Mario movie, which I think was a good movie, but really had very little to do with Mario games.
It's funny you say that it was a good movie.
It was a good
I'm
movie.
gonna reiterate my previous statement. It was an entertaining movie. Definitely deserved a Golden Globe that year, that's for sure.
Oscars. The other thing I'll say is that I don't know if you guys heard about the latest controversy with Netflix and Ricky Gervais.
A little bit.
Yeah, this time.
So
he said women don't have penises.
Yeah, he was making a joke about offensive things that people are getting caught saying 10 years ago and getting canceled for now. And he says
you can't predict what the next thing you can get canceled over is, because 10 years ago, if you said women don't have penises, nobody would cancel you for it. In fact, nobody has ever said that because we never thought we'd ever have to.
Yeah, that was the joke.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, they've gotten some flack, but they've come out strong against the flack and basically said, if you don't like it, quit. We don't give a shit anymore. And so they made a public statement to all of their employees that basically said, if you don't agree with anything that we have on our platform, maybe Netflix is not the right spot for you. So on top of the fact that they're also seemingly getting a little bit more tight with their purse lips, or whatever that saying is, for spending money on shit that's just going to end up wasting money because it's going to be garbage. All of these decisions that they're making are down the pipe.
Mm-hmm.
So have to.
Fuck, I was going to skip these for next podcast, but now I guess we'll cover them. But continue.
I was going to say we have to survive a little bit longer of the stuff that they've already invested heavily into and made under an older corporate environment. And if they are making a change for the better, it'll still be a year or two before we start seeing the fruits of that.
I'll be real. I don't think it's possible for them to correct course. Now, I would just like to say regarding this, I have given every iteration of the Resident Evil adaptations, I've given every one of them a chance. And as far as I'm concerned, I love this part though. Resident Evil has solid source material, and it blows my mind that RE1 through 3 have never received an authentic, slow-paced, live-action adaptation. I don't get how 4 police officers trapped in a mansion in the woods with zombies, monsters, and death traps, all with a mystery to solve, isn't worth a full season of content alone. So I'll just say, based on this trailer, I would be more than happy to give this. Is this a show or a movie? I think it's a movie. Can't remember. I don't even know. But I would be willing to give it a shot based on the trailer. It does vaguely resemble to me. We're going to make a zombie movie, and hey, we have the rights to slap Resident Evil on it. That's kind of how it kind of looks that way to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not so sure that it's going to be, I don't know that the source material is going to be treated fairly or whatever, but as far as just getting to watch an action movie with zombies, yeah, I'll watch the shit out of it. That's cool. I'll do it. Who cares? But it is going to be very hard to watch and hear, the character names and have that like knee-jerk reaction every moment when I'm supposed to believe that this is Albert Wesker, right? Like, I mean, no, it's
Well,
sorry.
apparently there are reasons for that, AC.
Oh, just you fucking wait until I read this article to you. Netflix's Resident Evil showrunner insists respecting character race is limiting. Netflix finally released the maligned trailer for their upcoming Resident Evil series, and those who cared got to witness the race-swapped antagonist Albert Wesker in action. The showrunner of the series claiming that respecting character race is limiting. Showrunner Andrew Dabb. Cringe at your name, Dabb. Showrunner Andrew Dabb was excited to explain that adhering to canon was limiting, regardless of how popular the character and series already is, in a pattern that was already seen when Netflix, quote, righted the issues in their despised Cowboy Bebop adaptation. Dabb explained that casting actors that look like their original counterparts is wrong. Quote, if you know the games, Wesker is dead. He got blown up by a rocket launcher in a volcano at the end of Resident Evil 5. Listen here, I don't want to give too much away, but I will say the explanation for why Wesker is the way that he is and how he is still alive go hand in hand. So you're telling me that the reason that Albert Wesker is now a black guy is because he charred himself in the volcano after getting blown up by a rocket launcher? That's messed up.
Protection doubt.
I think when you are casting in the modern day and age, if you are limiting yourself based on, well, this character is blonde, so we got to look at blonde actors, you're going to find yourself in a bad position. Okay. Not a single person casts a blonde person because they're blonde. Because every single actor who has played the Punisher, except for John Bernthal, he doesn't count anymore. In the movies, every actor that has played the Punisher is blonde. And they dye his hair jet black to play the role. Every one of them. Dabb continued by expressing confidence in Wesker's actor, Lance Reddick. Side note, I have nothing against Lance Reddick. I do expect to have it based on the trailer, an extremely hard time not thinking of John Wick when he talks, but nothing against him as an actor. When Lance was interested in doing the part, you're not going to find anybody better than him to play this character, which I can't wait to see how he pulls it off because I'm not seeing it. I mean, I think he's a great actor, but I don't know that I think he's fucking Wesker. I don't see it, right? Having played the games. You're not going to find you're not going to find anybody better than him to play this character, both the dad part of the character and also the more corporate killer part. At that point, you're making the show weaker by going with someone that may be more aesthetically a match to the game. So why would you weaken a show like that? It makes no sense to me. And luckily, Netflix and Constantin Films as well were very much on board with that. The goal here is to do the strongest show. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the way that you do this. You don't call him Wesker. It's that simple. You just reversion the property as a live action property with characters that only exist or are a proxy version of the character from the game in the live action property. You fucking, who the hell is Alice? From the Mila Jovovich movies. She didn't exist in the games. That's all you fucking have to do.
I can't think of a good example right now, but I'm sure eventually it'll come to me.
Example of what?
Of them doing just that. Adapting a thing and changing a character slightly. And it's like, okay, it's the perfect example actually is the Mario movie. Daisy was the princess. It wasn't Peach. It wasn't Princess Toadstool. It was Daisy.
And she actually is the reason that Daisy became a character in the lore for the actual games.
That I don't know.
That's true.
Okay.
Daisy, the character in the Mario games, did not exist until the Mario movie created her.
The first appearance, I think, was the Game Boy game. But yeah, the Mario movie might have been first. I don't remember.
I'm almost certain that it is. Now that you've brought this up, like I feel like we can do this. I'm sure that there is something we could pull up where it'd be like, oh right, that character, right? It happens all the time where a character, Mario's a good example too, where the character gets created through like the American property. I'm trying to think of one. I know it's too late. It's too late in the night.
Yeah, there's definitely other examples of not movie, but like, so in Donkey Kong Country, right? They needed a character that was a younger character, sidekick character, and they were originally going to use Donkey Kong Jr., but then they opted not to. They didn't want to use Donkey Kong Jr. I can't remember the reason why. And they created a new character in Diddy Kong that represented the same role as Donkey Kong Jr. would have. It was just a new character. So it was a swap in, essentially. They could have easily done that. Okay, so in this movie, we're not going to have Wesker. We're going to have fake Wesker, pseudo Wesker. It's the same. He's going to have the same role in the movie as the antagonist. He's going to have the same characteristics. He's just going to be a different character.
Berserk, like the way that they adapted Berserk in the '97 Berserk, they didn't put Puck in because there was no point in having him just for episode 1. So they took the character Colette and her father and made her the one that the guys are harassing at the bar instead of the fairy. Right? Stuff like that, where you, in order to make it fit, you can change the story, right? And you can make it still serve the purpose by using a character from somewhere else or creating a new character,
or merging two characters. That often happens too.
Precisely. Like I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'm sure that there's characters that are in Dragon Ball Z that are not in the manga at all, or Naruto filler characters that end up coming into the story later. I want to say there. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there is a character from Broly from the Dragon Ball Z movies.
Broly
ends up coming into the canon, right? So yeah, I mean, I think that is a much better option, especially because how great would it be for Netflix to create their own character who is then so popular that they start putting him in the games and they have to pay royalties to Netflix. You know? So I said rather than giving paying customers what they want, more and more showrunners seek to subvert expectations and tear down beloved IPs by defying or even attacking the fans that make the IP profitable in the first place. So I saw Welcome to Raccoon City with Dan, and I'll tell you, the movie could have been really good, but unfortunately, they made every one of the male characters a dickless incompetent. And they made all of the women characters like the come with me if you want to live, right? Kind of like, and it was just it was just obvious that you were getting beat over the head with ideology the whole time you're watching it. They made Jill black. They made Leon Mexican, right? And it was just like they. And look, here's the thing. I got to make this really clear. When you race swap a character to be a different race, and you tell me it's because we wanted the best actor for the job, that person had better fucking outshine the rest of the cast to warrant your decision. For example, Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie is probably the best character in the whole fucking movie. Right?
Mhm.
I
he
mean,
was a good
Colin Farrell as Bullseye wasn't so bad, but I cringe if you watch it today. But but a funny ass character.
another good
My sister had the biggest crush on Colin Farrell as Bullseye.
Another good example of a race swap that people accepted was with Fury, Nick Fury from the Marvel movies.
I believe that race swap happened before it got to the movie, though.
So the race swap happened in the Marvel Comics Ultimate comic. So it was an alternate universe, Ultimate Comics. They had created a black Nick Fury in that universe, and that was completely separate from the mainline Marvel movie or mainline Marvel Comics, and they had actually made that character. Initially, he didn't look exactly like
Sam Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson, but they over a few chapters they made it look like Samuel L. Jackson, and then he was like, "What the fuck?"
Really?
And then they were like, "Well, how about we just let you be in our movie then?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Samuel L. Jackson showing up at the end of Iron Man. Like, look, Samuel L. Jackson is one of the few black actors that is so beloved that you could literally have made him Captain America and people would have been okay with it, right? Like,
Probably.
if literally any you couldn't have just want to see Samuel L. Jackson as the motherfucking Spider-Man, right? Like just like cross shaft with Spider-Man. I would watch the shit out of that. Literally.
I think as long as people are being genuine and
right
and have a valid reason for the race swap, people will accept it.
Don't even address it and don't beat it down your throat.
And when I say valid reason, I don't mean like, what was that fucking show? It was a Netflix show where they kept swapping bodies. It was a good show. I forget what the show was called, but anyway, the first Altered Carbon. So the first season, the starred a white character. The character was white, but the show inherently has the ability for you to beam into another body.
Mm-hmm.
And for the second season, they couldn't get the same actor again, so they used Anthony, the guy that plays Falcon in
Anthony
the Marvel
Mackie?
movies.
that
And
his name?
Anthony Mackie, yeah. And they gave some 2-bit reason that he was race swapped, and it kind of worked. It seemed weird when, if you are a white person, actually the main character was Asian, I think, and you have options. I don't know why you wouldn't pick the same body, but whatever, it kind of worked in that one.
But
But
you're
in
telling me, hold on. You're trying to figure out why an Asian guy would want the body of a black guy.
I don't think he wanted the body. It was kind of just like it was needed for the mission he was on, if I remember correctly, or it was just the one available. I can't remember, but either way, it sort of worked. But if you give some like dumb reason, like I know you guys don't watch them, but on Yellow Flash's show on Saturday, Lofty Pixels, the Quarterings editor, made the argument that this wasn't a race swap because there was an explanation. And they were like, well, what's the explanation? And he was like, well, I don't know. Maybe he's just an android. And everyone was like, well,
Are
if
you
they
still
made...
talking about Altered Carbon, or
No, sorry. Now I'm back to talking. They were talking about this this
the Resident
story.
Evil? Okay.
And so if Wesker...
that is a terrible explanation.
Yeah, if their explanation is, oh, we brought him back as an android, and we have a world where we can build androids, but we just can't build them to look like Wesker.
This is the stupidest argument ever. Because
hold on. No, just let me finish my point here. So in that case, the logic breaks down as to why this character needed to be race swapped. And then it's like, well, if you could have built an android, why didn't you just make the android look like the original character, right?
And why does he have two black daughters?
Are those his daughters?
Who literally grow up in the storyline. Like, this takes place across two separate timelines.
Okay, I didn't know anything about the story.
One of his daughters looks like, so I'm guessing they have different mothers, because one of them looks Blasian.
I mean,
and the
if
other
that's
one
the
looks
case,
black.
They might legitimately have a good reason why he's black in the show. But the main point that I was trying to get at is, if the reason is not very thought out, if it's not genuine, if we as an audience can tell you are literally doing this just for a black token character, and you're replacing an otherwise traditionally other race character, then people see through that, and it's like, and it ruins whatever you were trying to do. So
yeah, and I think it actually makes it worse. It actually makes it worse for people that you kind of throw it in like that, almost like a token, Yeah. That, again, rather than make a character where Lance Reddick can really shine, wouldn't it be amazing if you gave the actor the ability to become their own character versus just saying you're the black version of Wesker, or kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it seems like a really bad move on their part. And the whole time you're watching it, it's taking you out of the experience. Like I said, I could get totally behind this thing here. The story seems like, just from what I've gathered from these fucking pictures, the one girl is got a back brace on of some kind, right? Their names are Billy and Jade Wesker, I think. So you can see Billy, vials of blood for Billy. So it seems like Wesker here is attempting to create a serum that will activate the spinal column or something of his daughter, who's got some brace or whatever going on. That's what I'm reading in just these 3 fucking images here, right? And I could get behind this story, and it would be so easy for you to make this story if you just don't fucking call him Wesker. Because every goddamn time I hear his name in the story, the first thing that's gonna pop into my fucking head is Wesker telling Chris Redfield he's punched his last boulder. You know, like I can't not see that because I've played the games. You know, so I don't understand why on earth companies are still doing this.
Yeah.
When you
and-
can just make a new character, because effectively Wesker's got a son in the games, right? And instead you're completely writing a new backstory. So why are you even using Wesker? You're limiting yourself with that. Just
And
doesn't make
anybody
sense to
who
me.
watches the movie is like, oh yeah, that sounds like a fun game, and they start from game one. Like, what the fuck? Wester's isn't black?
Right. Of course, I guess maybe that's the move. Oh, this is the this is what is that? The population replacement. What's that thing that they're always talking about? That secretly it's been in media the whole time. So I've got this.
Alright,
Since you
before
brought it up.
getting farther- I don't want to get any farther away from it because I pulled up the tabs.
Okay.
Random 11 is right. Daisy was first in Super Mario Land, which came out in Japan April 21st, 1989. And the live action movie came out, where's the dates? In like 93 something.
Okay.
So that's like, 4 years apart almost. May 28, 1993.
Okay. I feel like
Okay.
there was something else. It's this is 6.5 hours in right now, so it's like my brain's pretty fried. Despite
Yeah.
my immense attempt to drink as much water as humanly possible to clear the brain fog.